SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Tuesday, June 12th, 2012. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. On today's show, we're going to introduce you to a very special person who was recently presented with the prestigious honor at the International Swimming Hall of Fame's induction ceremony. Milt Campbell has led a distinguished career in sport, known mostly as a decathlete with 2 Olympic medals to his credit. But in his youth, he was also an accomplished swimmer in a time when blacks were not very prevalent in the sport. We invite you to watch this piece produced by the International Swimming Hall of Fame and listen to Milt's speech upon accepting the gold medallion from iShop CEO Bruce Wygo.
Milton Gray Campbell. Don't tell Milt Campbell he can't do something, because he's been proving them wrong his entire life. Take, for example, his freshman year at Plainfield High in New Jersey. He was a star athlete. But when he wandered into the pool, he was told by one of the swimmers that the school had never had a colored boy try out for the swim team because black people can't swim. Milt took that as a challenge, and with the encouragement of his coach, Vic Lisk, he became an all-American swimmer and established a bond with his coach that lasted a lifetime. He might have become the first black Olympic champion in the pool. Instead, he became the first black Olympic champion in another sport.
Melbourne, Australia, the opening day ceremonies of the Olympic Games. Marching with the United States team, the man considered a certain favorite to win the decathlon, Rafer Johnson, the world record holder. His main opposition is expected to come from the Soviet Union champion, Vasily Kuznetsov. Given little chance to win the gold medal is Johnson's teammate, Milt Campbell.
A lot of things happened in 1956, and perhaps the most significant thing that happened was that I was not scheduled to win the Olympic decathlon. Rafer Johnson and Vasily Kuznetsov was scheduled to take first and second, and I was slated to take third. Rafer asked me how did he think it would all turn out, and I remarked to him that I thought that this was a very bad time that he showed up, because this Olympic Games was mine and I was willing to give everything that I had to do to get it. I looked at the expression on his face and realized that he also felt that I was ready.
4 years earlier in Helsinki, Campbell won the silver medal in the decathlon. Now here in his heat in the 100 meters, he sets the course for the whole of the competition. He turns in the fastest time. He continues to turn in great performances in the next 4 events. And at the end of the first day, he leads Rafer Johnson by 189 points. Kuznetsov is all but out of the competition, trailing Campbell by 573 points. The second day begins. The first event is the 110-meter hurdles. Milt Campbell is a world-class hurdler, capable of winning an individual gold medal in this event. Campbell's time, 14 seconds flat. With 4 events to go, there is little chance for Rafer Johnson and Vasily Kuznetsov to win the gold medal. The events go by, and Campbell continues to excel. He is threatening Rafer Johnson's world record, but here in the pole vault, he temporarily falters. Although the gold medal is secure, his chance at the world record is over. As the men get ready for the 10th and final event, it is now evident that Campbell is on his way to one of the great decathlon performances in Olympic history. But in his heat in the 1,500 meters, he will be involved in the most dramatic moments of the competition, his meeting with Ian Bruce of Australia.
Coming into the bell lap, I can remember seeing the man ring the bell and seeing the German begin to take off, and Vasily Kuznetsov begin to round the turn, and Ian Bruce was still behind me at this particular time. And all of a sudden I hear this voice off my shoulder saying, come on, big boy, it's time to run. I'm sure you can do better than this. Come on, let's run. I turned around and looked at Ian Bruce, and he was running like he had just walked on the track and started running. He wasn't breathing hard, and he wasn't sweating. He just seemed to keep yelling at me at this particular point. So we started picking up the pace. And as we picked it up a little faster and a little faster, I could look up and see the Russian we began to close on the Russian tremendously. I can remember then going into the last turn and thinking that I want to catch this guy. I've got to catch him, and I've got to beat him. And Ian Bruce was saying at the same time, come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I thought this was fantastic because I could feel the speed picking up. And coming off the last turn, Ian Bruce and I got into a sprint, and stride for stride we came down. We passed the Russian, and we were driving for the tape, and I could remember having an edge on him right down to the wire. When we got down to the wire, he nipped me out.
Milt Campbell sets a new Olympic record. His Olympic career is now over. But for all time, Milt Campbell will be known as one of the legends of the decathlon. In his time, the finest all-around athlete in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, Milton Gray Campbell.
First of all, let me say thank you so very much for even reaching out and looking at a career like mine to give me such a wonderful honor. I really, really deeply appreciate it. Well, let me tell you how I got into swimming. First of all, I used to watch my father run across the canal, run out and off the beach in the canal, dive in the water, swim across the other side. I was 3 years old. I looked at my mom and I said, I can do that. And I ran out, and of course I was drowning. My father came back and got me. You know, and they immediately set me down and said, Milt, that's something that you don't do. Don't ever do that again. I said, I'll never do that again, you know. So next Sunday we were at the same beach, and my dad runs out and dives in the water, swims across the other side. I said, I know I can do that. So I ran right out behind him and almost drowned again, you know. And I don't know if it was just a challenge to me or if I was just dumb and hard-headed. But I did that 4 times. And after that, my father got very strong about don't ever do that again. But the next time, my brother went away to camp, and I was 4 years old, and I was watching the bigger guys swim up the other end, and I'm standing on the dock, you know. And I said, geez, I know I can do what they do. And I jumped in the water, and of course I was drowning. My brother was swimming over to get me. He's only 2 years older than I am. And by the time he got there, I came up for the second or third time, but then I realized putting this hand out, and then this hand out, and then this hand out might keep me above water, and then kick your legs frantically. And I did that, and I was swimming. So I started swimming when I was about 4.5, 5 years old. But you have to go back to the 40s and the 50s, and of course there weren't a lot of black people swimming in the community pools in Jersey, so therefore the word kind of got around. I don't know how it got all over the country, but it kind of got around that black folks couldn't swim. And I don't know if you remember Joe Frazier, the boxer. Yeah. Do you remember when he was in the Superstar thing and he dove in the water and almost drowned? He was kind of proving to everybody we couldn't swim. You know? So anyhow, I went, we had a wonderful year at playing football. My freshman year in high school, I played JV football. And for the first time in 1949, we had an all-black backfield. So you can imagine how proud we were. You know, we were good athletes, and we won every game, and we had an undefeated season. And my brother was playing varsity, and they had an undefeated season. So when football was over, everybody says, well, your brother plays basketball. What are you going to do? You're going to follow in your brother's footsteps? And I said, no, I don't want to be known as Tom's brother. I want to be known as Milt, you know, or Milt Campbell. So I turned around and I decided, well, let me go see what else there is to do. So I went down and I wrestled the heavyweights and I wrestled the guys and I had fun. And then the next day I went in the swimming pool and I was sitting there watching the guys go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you know. And one of the guys came over and he was our state champion. And he sat down alongside of me and he says, well, you had a great year playing football. I said, yeah. He says, well, you're not thinking about swimming, are you? And I just didn't like the fact that he said, you're not thinking about swimming. Well, I have the right to think about this. So I'm sitting there looking at him, you know, and back in those days, my father was the type of person that came along, and he came along in the service, and there was a lot of hard times. So he had very little trust for white people, okay? And so, of course, he brought his boys up to believe the same thing, you know, and I'm the type of person that if you beat me and you're white, then I don't like you. But if I beat you and you're white, I love you. You know, so it was a real attitude of, let me go out and see what I can do with these guys. You know? So anyhow, I was sitting there along the pool, and the swimmer comes over and he says to me, you're not thinking about swimming, are you, you know? And I said, yeah, I was kind of thinking about it, you know. And then we were standing up and we were talking, you know, and I was flexing a little bit, you know, and watching him. And he says, I don't think you can do it. I looked at him, I saw 2 feet, 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head, you know. You ain't got nothing, I ain't got you, you know. Turned around, I said, why don't you think I'm gonna do it? He said, well, it's not in your genes. Isn't that in my genes? He said, yeah, well, you know, being born in Africa and so forth, and the water's all infested with crocodiles and snakes and that type of thing. He said, it wouldn't be in your genes for you to be able to swim. And I said, well, what the hell's that got to do with me? I was born in Plainfield, New Jersey. You know? And I really looked at him, and what happened was the coach came over, and he told me this years later. He said, I saw those big hands. And he said, I saw those big feet. He said, if I could get this kid to propel through the water, I would make him a champion. Well, he came over with a little bit more enthusiasm than this guy did. So he said, thinking about swimming, are you, Milt? See the difference in are you thinking about it or thinking about it? And I said, yeah, I was just kind of thinking about it. He said, what would you like to do? I said, what does he do? And the coach turned around and he said, well, he's on Premier Swimmer. I said, I want to do what he does. So, okay. We started out the beginning of the year. The first time, and you're going to have fun with this, the first time I swam from this corner of the pool to this corner, back to this corner. Needless to say, I took 4th, okay, out of the 4 swimmers. And they began to realize that this arm was so powerful and strong, and this arm wasn't as strong, so I came diagonally across the pool. Coach said, don't worry about it, we'll straighten that out. So we came down to practice the next day, and he said, I want you to do 50 laps. 50 laps? What for? I'm a sprinter. I go down and back. What do I need to do 50 laps? He said, well, you need them for your practice and to develop your style and so forth. So I did 50 laps. Then he went to 80 laps. Then he went to 120 laps. And then I said, Coach, can we talk to each other for a minute? I said, this is disgusting. He said, why? And I said, why do I need to swim so many laps when I'm only going to dive in, and I'm halfway down the pool when I finish the dive, and I'm going to swim down, touch the wall, and come back and touch this wall. And he said, you still need to do it for your skills and your everything, you know. So I said, okay, fine. I did whatever the coach told me. And little did he know that when everyone got out of the pool and left, I did another 20 laps. I did another 30 laps. I did another 40 laps. It was my way of saying that you've been swimming 3 years more than I have. I'm going to make it up by swimming the extra time and the extra laps. So anyhow, by the end of the year, by the middle of the year, we would be swimming in a race and we'd swim down. He would touch, 1 stroke later I would touch. By the end of the year, we get to the end of the pool and in the state meet, he touched, bang, I touched. I was right behind him. Next year, I broke all of his records and became an All-American. So in telling you this story is one of the things that people don't do, and I don't allow people to do. Don't tell me what I can't do. Okay, I've been stricken with a little bit of cancer, and I've been taking chemotherapy, and it shot all the nerves in my leg, and my doctors have seen me in a wheelchair and so forth, and they'll say it'll take about 2.5 to 3 years before you get that leg back and are able to walk. I told them, think in terms of 6 months. It's been a year now, and I'm walking with a cane.
Our thanks to Bruce Weigel and his staff at iShop for bringing us this insight into swimming history. That's going to do it for the Morning Swim Show today. Thanks for watching.